All right, all right, all right. Jason, we're a minute early because we are always a little ahead of the game. Isn't that right?
That's right. If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah. I come from Wisconsin background, and Vince Lombardi used to say 15 minutes early is on time. Anything else is late. So I'm glad to have everybody joining us tonight. We got people jumping in. Tell us where you're from, guys, in the chat. I have the honor of having Jason Pelland with me this evening. My name's Jim Winkler. I'm Vice President of Sales for the company, and I've got Jason Pelland with me, who wears many hats, as well as an unfranchised owner as I do, but really leads our Web Center program in such a great way, as well as a big part of our university sales team. I was actually just before starting this complimenting him on everything he does to help the entire field. So it's a pleasure, Jason, to be on with you.
Well, pleasure is mine. Thanks for inviting me, and I'm looking forward to the session.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It looks like we've got people coming on from Malaysia. We got Oregon, we got Brooklyn, New York. We got a couple from Malaysia. This is great to see people coming in from Malaysia. So I love that. Why don't we get started, Jason? I'll share my screen and let's get this going. All right.
Fantastic. It's one of my favorite topics we're going to be covering tonight, Jim. So I'm glad that I'm on this session with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad we're doing this together. It is so much fun to be able to talk about really building that possibilities list and having the ability. Let me swap displays. There we go. I think that looks good now. And having that ability, Jason, to help people start to expand and build their business, which is such an important thing for all of us to be able to do. We're meeting more people, and we got a great opportunity here tonight to talk about how to take advantage of that.
Yeah, without question. I think a lot of people, get so in the mode of being at home or wherever they're at, and now they're starting to come out and they're being around people, and it's a little bit of a transition back to the kind of the new normal. Doesn't mean that everything online doesn't work. It does. Everything
That's
in
right.
person works. So it's how to maximize our time as unfranchised owners.
Yeah, that's a great way to put that, Jason. And as we do this, let's go ahead and let's take a look. One of the things, I got my 53 shirt on tonight, and I know you were like, should I run and grab mine? And we were a little close on time, but we do have a lot of people who are participating right now in our 53 challenge. Our Stay Focused, Stay the Course, in honor, of course, of one of our great friends and mentors, Dennis Franks. And let's just do a quick run through, Jason, on some of the leaders. If you look in Australia, and hopefully everybody knows this, you have the ability to go in and you can change the country to look at the different leaders in each country that we have, as well as the overall leaders. Here's Canada. Great to see some of the people really stepping up from our Canadian team.
Canada's tearing it up. Look at that. That's great.
I know, I love it. And of course, here's Hong Kong. Look at that, 977 new BV sales, 17 personal orders from partner stores. You have to love that. Malaysia, and we've got a number of people from Malaysia on with us tonight for us, today for them, morning time for them, and looking at what they've done. Great job, Malaysia. Singapore on with us. Look at the numbers here as well. Singapore, you need to be watching tonight, because we're going to talk about how to move those numbers a little bit on that left column, make it a little stronger. But Taiwan does not need any support on that, as you can see, because when we look at new sponsored qualified UFOs, we're actually digging down to two levels,
two pages. Yeah.
two pages of it, which is great to see. And then when you move forward to the United States, great job to everybody listed here for the week. And each week we highlight this as we go through it, but to everybody, we're really proud of you and what you're doing with this. So great to see all these great things going on with the company. And, as we move into this, Jason, we talk about prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. I guess I'll ask you, and then I'll throw in my 2 cents. What's this represent to you?
Well, really, it's all about expanding your business, and beyond that, Jim, when I see this, I think of two words. It says three, but two words really. The first is income, and the second is impact, right? And impact meaning how can you help other people solve potential problems in their lives? So I really, taking the emphasis off yourself and really using this as a gift that you're providing other people.
Oh, I love that. As I look at these words, my mind goes back to when I started the business, and it was all about, I didn't want to do the work of 100 people. I didn't want to work 100 hours. I wanted to have a team. And I wanted to have a team. If everybody put in 10 hours, I'd get my 100 hours, but it wouldn't be me doing the 100 hours. And you can't get that unless you're prospecting, which is really just opening up the antennas again. And as you and I were talking, Jason, it's like we were sort of getting back in the mindset again because, for so long we weren't talking or seeing anybody other than online. And now we're out and about and doing stuff and then qualifying them. Just because I'm prospecting somebody doesn't mean that I think they're the right person for the business. I may have to figure that out by qualifying them and then sponsoring. And sponsoring is how we create that leverage, how we grow that business and do that. So those words represent a lot to me. It really represents building a business and taking it to a new level. And as you and I talked, we talked about the first thing you got to do with prospecting is build a names list, right? And it's funny tonight. If you're watching this, I'm going to recommend you send this and get some people on with you because we're going to do some fun things at the end of it, which might scare you, but it might make you way better in your business and may help you grow faster. I've always believed if I'm going into, I call it prospecting mode, Jason, where I'm going out, I'm going to get after it. My first thing I do, I start building a names list again. People say, well, Jim, you've been doing this 25 years. Is there anyone left? It's amazing. I've got such a big names list because, different times of your life are the different times you might approach people, and different times of their life are the different times they should be approached. But what I want to tell everybody is one of the things we should do is not worry about who we think is right for it. What we're doing is we're sharing it. We're having them evaluated. So that allows me to put basically everybody that I know on there. Jason, I share a story, and you may have heard me tell this before, but when I was new, lady who was a mentor to me and trained me, Marta Arkebauer, she said to me, I had to build a names list of 300 names. And I thought, I was a vice president of a corporation. I got this lady telling me I got to write out 300 names and numbers. And I thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. That was what went into my head. But I had just before she started telling me this, told her I would do this business hard for 1 year. I'd be coachable. And I would do what she said as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral. Well, she says, now you got to do 300 names. I'm thinking, why did I tell her I'd do what she said? So I started doing it. And this is before Facebook and even before you had names in your cell phone. Man, I hated it. I was like, this is so dumb. Why am I doing this? These people, and I didn't even know everybody. To get to 300, I'm like, my daughter's friend's dad. And I'd put that on. But I had to get to 300. But you know what? What it did, and I'm sure you've gone through this as well, is it bulletproofed me. Because when I went out, some of the first people I talked to told me I was crazy. It would never work. Why are you looking at something like this? And so if the first 5 said no, I had 295 more to talk to. And, it really set the tone of, okay. And I thought to myself, you know what could this business give me? And if it can give me that, man, I'll talk to 100 to find one if I have to. I'll talk to 200 to find. I don't care what it is. I just need to know how to do it, and I'm going to say that to everybody out here. So start writing down names, friends, family, neighbors, teammates. Jason, you are in the wheelhouse right now, by the way. You have a 10 and a 14-year-old, which means you're around other parents all the time right now. Am I right? In fact, you ran in, you're sweating because you were running from soccer, right?
That's right. That's right. And they're different school systems too. You know, I got one in high school and then one in the elementary school. So different parents. Now my youngest is at the oldest class in the elementary school. He's in fifth grade. But now there's fourth, third, second, and first grade parents that I never knew because he was always the youngest one. So there's always new people, new soccer teams, you know, the high school, you know, classmates that my oldest is around. So you're never at a loss for people, right?
No, you know, and the funny thing about building this names list and doing it with all these different things you can see on the screen right now is when you do it, you get excited about talking to people. But when you don't do it, you almost feel like you're out of names. So it takes a little time, it takes a little effort, but once you do it, you're golden, and it really gets you moving. And with social media, you and I talk about different things. There's so many ways to build this list, and it doesn't mean going out and just jumping on people and talking to them. It means we're now putting them on there so that we've got a list of people at the appropriate time to reach out to.
I love
You
that,
know,
Jim.
and
You
then how do
said
you,
real quick, you said,
yeah,
you
of
know, it's a
course.
possibility list. And I think a lot of people make a probability list, right? Who do they probably know that might do something like this? And that's the wrong way to go about it. It's a possibility that possibly could be a contact for you. They might know the right people, they might not, but it's a possibility list. And what it does is it builds that posture, like you said. So it's all about mindset.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even know I said it.
Yeah.
Possibility versus probability. There we go. See, that's why it's great to have Jason on your team, because he picks up things you don't even know you're saying. You know, when you qualify a list, so what are some great things to look for? Now, again, these people may not be the people who end up being part of your team because you're just getting them to evaluate and lead to other people, but sales or sales experience. Those can be great. Those can also, you know, some people in sales are uncoachable. Uncoachable means they may not qualify if you meet with them and they're uncoachable. You know what I've loved, Jason, over the years? Trainers, like yourself,
That's right.
teachers, coaches. You have a training background, am I right?
Yeah, background in personal training. I never saw myself as having a background in sales or business or marketing. That wasn't my mindset, but it was helping other people. And I think that's
Right.
what those individuals tend to lean towards.
And as a trainer, did you have to follow a plan when you were working with people? Did you have it laid
Yeah,
out, your day laid out?
of course, of course.
Again, why I love teachers, trainers, and coaches, because A, they're usually good at communicating. B, they have a plan and they're willing to follow it. And that's exactly what we have. Entrepreneurs or business experience. Why do I love them? Well, again, because they're used to, you know, someone who's been an employee their whole life, a lot of times, what are they thinking? Well, I put an hour in, I should get an hour of pay. But the truth is, an entrepreneur knows I might put 20 hours in to get an hour of pay. But eventually, I may put in an hour to get 20 hours of pay. So they know they got to put the effort, the sweat equity in up front to get the rewards in the background. Attitude. I love good attitudes. How about you, Jason? I mean,
Yeah, in fact, that's probably one of the at the top of my list is what I'm looking for. Is if I'm going to choose and select who I want to work with, I want someone who's got a positive attitude that I want to be around.
I always say it's people I want to go on vacation with,
Right.
people I want to hang out with. Because if I'm building my business, I'm going to be around them a lot. We're going to be doing events together. We're going to be going to meetings together. We're going to be having a lot of fun together. So why not pick the people I like to have fun with, and people of influence? You know, I read a book once and it was talking about prospecting. It said, you know, if you go into a restaurant, you have two choices. You can prospect the person who's the busboy, right? Nothing again wrong with busboys, but if you prospect the busboy, who is the busboy going to prospect? They're probably going to prospect either other busboys or other people that may not be at the same level they are. That people tend to recruit down, is what I always say. But if I prospect the owner, who's the owner going to prospect? They're going to prospect the manager, the chef, the cooks, the servers, the busboy, all of them. So that's why when we talk people of influence, people get scared of that, but it's actually better because again, you're having them evaluate it. I love people who either have money or who have lost money. Why do I say that? Well, for one thing, it's a business. It takes some money to get going. But I have a belief if someone's been successful at something, they can be successful at this. I also have a belief if they've done it once in something but then lost it, they want to get it back because they know what it feels like to have that. Prior networking or direct sales experience, great. Sometimes we got to retrain them a little bit because they come in, with a different mental attitude than we have as unfranchised owners. And then people with access to large networks. Those are great people to think about, Jason.
Yeah, and I think there is a trait when you're looking at different characteristics. Obviously, you talked about communication skills, but there's one trait that can't be taught, and that's hunger, right? Someone who's hungry for
Desire.
something more than what they've got. So someone who's got desire. I think we see that entrepreneur. Well, what about the entrepreneurial spirited person? They want something bigger than what they've got, but they don't really have the vehicle, right? Those are prime candidates. So we're going to take this list, 300 to 300 names, and we're going to boil it down. We're going to qualify it. We're going to really identify this top 10 list. But the most important thing to see here is that, identify your top 10 list with the help of your senior partner.
Hello.
And I think a lot of people try and make their own top 10 list, but you talk about prejudging. Well, maybe I'm not going to talk to the restaurant owner because maybe I'm uneasy talking to them. So I'm going to put them at the bottom of my list because they don't need this anyways. They're already too big. We start making excuses. But when I'm talking to you, Jim, and I say, Jim, here's my list. I've boiled it down. I've got maybe 30, 40, 50 people. And you interview me and you say, well, this is really your top 10, Jason. Now let's
Yeah.
strategize approaches. And everyone else we're going to build relationships with, but this is your gold right here. And let's start with this list.
Oh, I love it. And in such a good way to use and work as teams. Because we're always showing the teamwork that's involved with this.
Yeah. And you mentioned, influence. I think that's probably one big category. People that you know and trust. People
Mhm.
do business with people they know, like, and trust. So that's going to be
Yep.
at the top of your list for sure. People that are going to take a phone call from you, that are
Yeah.
willing to sit down for a cup of coffee. They actually like you. Imagine that, Jim, right? You have a good rapport with them. They're more likely to be receptive. People that are your cheerleaders, they're in your back corner. They want to see you succeed. And sometimes that might not be your closest friend. Maybe they don't want to see you succeed because it makes them look bad. But you've got those people in your life that are always, pushing you to be better. People that are inviting you to social events. People that want to be around you. They're more likely to work with you as well. So I look at, who do I know that's the most well-connected and influential person on that list, and I want to schedule a meeting with them as soon as possible.
Great. And then really you're using them as a conduit to their people, right? And that's the way we think of it. I really hope everybody heard what you were saying on this. And Jason, I don't know about you, you mentioned this, but I had people on my top 10 list that I thought would be really excited to look at this and maybe would want to do it with me, who told me I was nuts. They said, "You're crazy. I can't believe you're looking at something like this." I had people in my 20, 30, 40 list, as I went down, that ended up being top earners in the company and doing fantastic with it. But again, you and I have both said it's not about who you think will be great, because even though we prioritize, we still you don't know what's burning inside. These are all great things to think about when you're taking a look at stuff. Why don't we do this? Boy, I haven't done this in a long time, so it's gonna be fun. Jason, I'm gonna ask you guys. So tonight we're gonna work together, and I'm gonna ask you to pull out a piece of paper, take your phone. If you're on your computer and you got a side area, you can do it, whatever it may be. But we're gonna do a little memory jogger, okay? And what I'm gonna do, I'm just setting my phone up now, so don't think I'm not paying attention to you. I am. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna say things, and all I want you to do is write down people you think of, okay? And if I'm missing something obvious, Jason, throw it out there too for everybody. But we'll try to think of some categories of stuff. And I've used memory joggers forever. This is how I do my names list, okay? So let's. I'm assuming everybody's ready. Are you guys ready? Give me a yes in the chat. We're ready. We are fired up. We are excited. and ready to go. All right, I got Bobby Marshall's ready. There's a lot of people ready. All right, let's see what we can do in 3 minutes. So Bob and Kim Holt, nice to see you guys. All right, here we go. All right, who do you know that's an entrepreneur? So right off the bat, who do you know that owns their own business? Maybe you frequent it. Maybe it's where you get your taxes done, your account. Maybe it's where you get your dry cleaning done. Maybe it's your favorite restaurant. But who do you know that's an entrepreneur? Let's stay on the entrepreneur spirit. Who's ever approached you about looking at a business? Has anyone ever approached you with another company and said, "I want you to take a look at this"? Who do you know that's in sales? Do you know anyone in sales, inside sales, outside sales? How about sales management or management of any kind? People in management are great because they know how to work with people. All right. We talked earlier. What about teachers, trainers, coaches? Jason, I bet you know some trainers on there. So teachers, trainers, coaches, who do you know that's doing that right now? Those are great people. That could be someone we should take a look at. Who do you know that's a hard worker? Who have you worked with in the past that you thought, man, they're a great worker or they're a great communicator? You enjoyed being with them. Who's someone like that? Who do you know that's a health professional? Maybe they're a nurse. My wife was a nurse before by working this fair. Her sister was a director of nursing. So we've got a big medical part of our business because they have that nursing background, understood our products easily. Jason, let's go with something Who do you know that's web design, right? Who do you know that designs websites, does things like that? That may be a great person to think about for this business. How about your neighbors? It's so funny. People will call me all the time. They'll talk to me about somebody across the country or in another country. And I'll say, "Have you talked to your neighbor?" And they'll be like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, how about we do that?" So who are your neighbors? Who are your friends? Who are your relatives that you have not ever asked about the business, or you asked a long time ago? Who's someone you already talked to it about the business, but the timing wasn't right at that time? How about any single moms, any single dads, anybody with children under the age of 18? How are they going to do these different things? Jason, you got any? Throw one out for me.
Yeah, a graphic designer or someone that you know is a chiropractor. Who's your dentist and maybe the hygienist? We're going into businesses, every day, it seems like. Who do you know that's an auto repair technician? Where you're getting your oil changed, someone that works in a car dealership, maybe in the service industry, maybe in car sales. How about a real estate agent? I think we all know someone. It's like a driver's license, right? Who knows?
Real estate agent, yeah, right. And that's how about Jason?
Broker.
How about somebody who loves cosmetics?
Absolutely,
or loves skincare? I mean, we all have those friends. They're always made up. They look great. They love to talk about it. You know what? We're at 3 minutes and 15 seconds. I got to call it. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Tell in the chat, how many names did you write down just now? How many names did you put in there? Wow, that was fun. Think if we did that for 10 minutes.
What I love about the exercise, Jim, is that it's top of mind, because I think a lot of us have a list, right? We've got a possibilities list. It's stale. It's been sitting in a folder. It's on our desk. But you go through that exercise and it freshens it, and it says, well, who is on the top of my mind right now? And it gives you an excuse or a reason to reach out to them, because they came to mind. Someone asked me if I knew someone who was a real estate agent, and your name came to mind, right? So it prompts that for you.
Great. Yes. Great.
16,
a lot of the
17,
15, 16, 17. Good job, guys. That is
Diane got 19, 21,
55.
Bobby.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
Wow.
Right there. 55, 17. What I have to say is that, think that was just 3 minutes. What if you sat down and you did this for an hour? You took something like, you can actually Google memory joggers. And if you Google memory joggers, a lot will come up where you can print it off, or you can have it on the computer while you're writing, and it really gets the mind going with that. But it took me, Jason, when I did my initial 300, it took me, because I didn't have a memory jogger, it probably took me, I started at about 9 or 10, I finished at 2 in the morning. So 3 to 4 hours, easy.
Yeah. And I think,
I guess I'm not very quick. but
Well, I
but
think
I did finish.
you got the job done. I think I think a lot of people get lazy, quite honestly, because they're like, well, I've got my phone and I've got my Facebook friends list or my Instagram list, so that's my names list. But you take away that creative spirit and that exercise that you just did. I think there's more power in doing it that way, rather than
Mhm.
printing off your Facebook friends list. And let's face it, not everyone who's on your Facebook friends list, you might not even know who they really are.
Right, right. My wife always
Uh,
laughs at me. Uh, Whenever it's somebody's birthday on Facebook, I like to wish them a birthday. But that's also the day I delete you if I don't know you and you haven't posted anything. She's like, that's horrible. You delete people on their birthday. I'm like, I got to keep it fresh, honey. New name,
That's right.
So,
That's right. So,
yeah.
so the idea is, as long as you've been in this business, Jim, you got to continue to add possibilities, and they really are everywhere. We talked about the soccer field. We were joking about, being in school, and I think a lot of people, over the past couple of years have, really sat back and said, well, I'm not running into people, I'm not bumping into people, and now's a perfect time because everyone's
Oh,
out and about. But don't make that the excuse. If you're having a challenge, adding people to your possibilities list, then you got to go out. You got to go out and,
yeah.
and change your routine. Maybe go to a different coffee shop to grab your coffee in the morning. Maybe join a networking group, or maybe, identify a new Facebook group, or just reconnect maybe in a high school reunion, or whatever it takes. Maybe join a new gym, or go to the gym at a different time. If you usually go at the gym at 6 in the morning, go at the end of the day at 5 p.m. There's a different audience there. You got to,
Mhm.
and people say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, do you want to be successful? Sometimes you got to do some of those things to force yourself in an environment where you're going to get new possibilities. You got to freshen it up.
Jason, when I started, if I went and got my hair cut and that person would not talk to me about the business, I went to a different person to get my hair cut. And I did this on purpose because I thought, I'm giving you business. It seems to me you should at least look at what I have, so you might be able to expand upon that. But I was that focused on adding that possibilities list as I went along. And always asking questions when we meet people. What do you do for a living? That's very common for people. Is how long have you worked here? If someone's worked at a place, how long have you lived in the area? I love to ask that of people. What brought you to this area? I'm in Arizona right now, and we spend part of the year here. So I meet a lot of new people. And as I'm talking, what brought you to Arizona? What does your spouse do? Sometimes you're talking to the wrong person, and it's really the spouse. Do you have family in the area? I love that one. Someone says, yeah, I got like 11 brothers and sisters. That was one of my favorites. All I could see was one organization building right down one line. Joan Herrera, if you're watching, I'm talking about you. Do you do this full time? Maybe a server or somewhere you're at. You ask them, do they do this on a full time basis? And do you keep your options open? There's a lot of people in today.
Yeah.
One thing I
How's
love.
life treating you? Right? How's
Oh,
life
that's a
treating
good.
you?
Yeah, very good. How's life treating you? It's really having a conversation, right? With Dennis, we did a video. It's on YouTube on the Market America channel called Talking in Themes. I do think sometimes we get stuck and we don't know what to say. So I think that's a great thing. You can go there, take a look at that. Um, Jason, lead us a little bit into social media prospecting.
Yeah, social media can be a little dangerous, right? A lot of us it's a time waster, for some people, and some people want to use this as almost like mass marketing. Well, if I just put a post out there, I've got 500 friends, 1,000 friends. If I just put a
Doesn't
post
work.
out there, yeah, I'll attract everyone. We're hiding behind a screen, and yeah, who can join me at the next UBP tomorrow night? Well, then it's crickets, right? But
Yeah.
you can identify people through social networks to build the relationship. That's where you're gonna, maybe meet some people in some of these groups, but then you're gonna create a relationship by asking the same questions, Jim, that you just went through. It's about really determining who they are as a person, and let's face it, people go on social media to be social,
Yeah.
right? They don't want to be blitzed. They don't want to be spam messaged. So you want to take your time with this. You don't want to be sending out, 20 or 30 copy and paste messages to all these people to just try and invite them to a UVP. That's not how the business was built, and it's going to be ineffective, and you're going to get discouraged. However, use it as a way to get to meet new people, to determine who can you build that relationship with offline as well. Where
Mhm.
can you take it from, say, Facebook or Instagram and move it to, say, a text message or to a phone call, and you're warming up that relationship.
I love that. Or reconnecting an old one, right? Which
Yeah,
is really
brilliant.
good too. So, a lot of people are scared, Jason, because they're like, well, if I, start talking to someone, they're gonna say, well, what do you do? Now, when you were a personal trainer, what did you say if someone said, what do you do?
I said I was a personal trainer,
Oh
right?
my God, that's brilliant. And I'm having fun. By the way, someone asked, what about church friends? Absolutely great people to talk to. But we get involved with our company, with Market America, shop.com, and all of a sudden people say, what do you do? And it's like nobody,
Yeah, we start showing them the plan.
yeah, we start showing them the whole plan. No. One of my favorites would be like when you were a personal trainer. Hey, I'm a personal trainer, but what I'm really excited about is a business I started. I mean, when I was prospecting, when I worked my full-time job and I did this part-time, people say, well, Jim, what are you so excited about? Well, I'm excited because I love my job, but I don't love the hours. I don't love the travel. And I do love the fact that now I'm taking some control by starting my own business. Whatever it was, that's all you were doing was giving them a, what do you do? I'm doing this, but I'm excited about this. I'm doing this, but I'm focusing on this. Any one of you can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And usually the next question following up that, what do you do? And you talk about this new business that you started is, well, what is it? And I think a lot of people don't even start that conversation or talk in themes. They're afraid because what happens if someone asks me, what is it? What's the perfect answer? Well, there is no perfect answer. But you do need to have one
What do
because
you
you want
say,
to,
Jason?
yeah, you want to speak intelligently. I tell people that I'm expanding a business project and I'm really excited about it because I'm bringing it into, and I mentioned their area, right? Or I'm expanding my business into this business category. I'm really looking to work with maybe salon owners. It's a new business category for me, right? So I'm not going to get into specifics, but what I do is I don't want to, I want to create curiosity. I don't want to satisfy it.
Right.
I want them to come
So you don't
back and
say
ask more
too much.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
But you
think
say
sometimes if,
enough. One time my wife heard me do a what is it? And she goes, that was the worst thing I have ever heard. And it was really bad. And afterwards, so they were, but you know what it did? That it made them ask me more questions. And it cracked me up because you can't say the wrong thing. At one point I interviewed like 20 top leaders. Everyone had a different answer to what is it, yet they were all tremendously successful, $1 million club members, people who had grown great businesses. Because you know what they did do? They said something. They approached people and then they followed up with confidence and kindness. And that's really, really what it is. Okay, team.
yeah,
So whatever it is, I always love to talk about it being sort of a hybrid, taking the best of a number of different things, so from franchising to internet marketing to owning your own business and being able to have things drop shipped for you, all that together into one concept that I can run from home or the beach or wherever I am. Whatever it is, make it interesting.
and it really is that conversation. You're trying to create that dialogue to gauge if there is an interest on, if they should go on that top 10 list and if you should approach them with the business based on how receptive they are to the conversation, right? If someone is blank faced, they've got no interest, they might not go, on your top 10 list, right? They might go on the maybe later list. Maybe they can get into trying a product for you, evaluating a product, using a sample. But that's your opportunity to really gauge their interest. It's not the opportunity to quote unquote recruit them and jump all over them and
Yeah,
show them the plan just because they asked you, what is it? And they showed a
right.
little interest, right? So sometimes you got to pump the brakes a little bit, right? Put them on the list and then use them to approach maybe in your next
You know what I loved,
opportunity.
Jason, when I was in the position you are with my children, there'd be times I'd get into a conversation. Maybe it's at the soccer game or at the basketball game, and I've got a dad asking me questions and knows I own my own business. Well, they'd ask a couple questions after we got going, and I'd say, "Hey, Jason, you know what? I would love to talk about it with you, but let's set something up because I really want to watch the game right now. How about Thursday? Would anything work then? And then we can sit down and go through this. But by pulling it away and not like saliva coming down my mouth, like someone's asking me a question.
Yeah.
They enjoyed it and it was professional. Does that, and I think
Yeah.
that's something we all need to think about.
Yeah, you don't want to run to your car, pull out your flip chart and say, hey, at halftime, let me show you the plan. Because then you look desperate, right? They might have an interest, but again, you're piquing that curiosity and just dripping on them enough to get
Yeah.
some more information to then schedule the appointment to do the job that you need to do, right? You got to give it the attention that it deserves.
I love that. So there's a lot of different approaches, and when I'm talking to people, it can be as simple as I'd like you to take a look at this for me. I'd like you to evaluate it. I'm looking to expand my business. What Jason said earlier, there's so many times I've been around people and they say, "Oh, I'm from Denver," and I said, "That's amazing." And they're like, "Why is it amazing?" I said, "Because I'm expanding my business there." And my wife Lisa would be next to me, and she'd be whispering in my ear, "We are." I said, "We are now," because wherever there's a good person, I'm going to be expanding. If I could show you a way you could have more time, or if I could show you a way you could save some extra money. Have you ever thought of working for yourself? Are you someone who keeps the financial options open? And the last one, of course, goes to the right people and some great referrals, which is really the evaluation. Would you help me out? I think these are all easy ways to talk to people. One of the things, and Jason, I know you do a good job of this, but you got to be you. Jason's not me. I'm not Jason. We've got to be us when we do it. Dennis and I used to talk about it. Dennis was so gregarious. I mean, when he prospected, it was like, and I'm a lot quieter, and but we'd laugh at each other because it didn't matter, because both of us though were warriors. We had in our mind what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, and how many people we could help by doing this.
Yeah, you got to be authentic because people can see through that anyways. They're like, whoa, what happened to Jim? Now he's acting all weird and stuff, right?
That's probably that'd be a fact if I started doing some of that stuff. But let's run through this real quick. But what are some key points if I'm calling somebody or texting them for evaluation, right? Because a lot of people love to text now, but Jason, I'm going to say something. I know some of my younger generation who I love to death on here are going to say, "Well, Jim, that's because you're old," and I'm going to say I may be a little bit older than you, but I am still with it, and I got kids your age, so I know what's going on. When you text somebody, you don't get the same response you get from calling them. In fact, my kids, and one of them, I'm actually working with him tomorrow on his business. He joined a couple weeks ago. We got together, we got our follow-up set. You watch out, this is going to be a good one. But one of the things is, if I want to talk to him, I text him and I say, "Hey, Jordan, I'm going to call you. Are you available?" He says yes or no. If he says no, I said, "Great, when will you be?" If he says yes, I give him a call. Because if I just call, sometimes even my own children don't pick up right away because they're just like, whatever, Same thing here. If you need to text something like that, great. Text and say, "Hey, you available? Could I give you a quick call?" Or if you're great at texting and you feel that's the best communication, do that as well. And I do know sometimes that is better for people.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to them, I'm going to say, "Jason, the reason I'm calling you, I don't know if I started my own business. I'm looking for people that I can help with products, services, or the business. You have always been someone I've admired. Your work ethic, the way you keep in shape, all the way you raise your family. I would love to get together with you and show you what I'm doing. I know you may know the right people, and you could provide me with some great referrals. Would you be willing to help me out with this and say, maybe give me 45 minutes to take a look at it so that you'd have a good understanding of what I'm looking for? I'll buy the coffee."
Yeah, absolutely. Of
And,
course.
and that's it. It's nothing hard.
And the way you went through that, I wasn't even thinking that I needed to ask, what is it? You gave me enough information that I didn't need to ask, what is it? I'm just willing to sit down with you because you're going to share that information with me when we get together.
Well, Jason, I'm going to tell you the funniest thing you said that, because everybody's worried about the what is it. So I've done over 100 moving up seminars. And in the moving up seminars, we always do a training on making calls. So I'd go through this and I would tell her, I'd put the numbers on the board and I'd say, here's how many people will ask you, what is it? If you make 100 calls over the next 2 days, you'll get 8 to 10 people who ask you, what is it? And everybody's like, no, you're so wrong, Jim. You don't know my people. I'm like, no, but you gotta stay similar to what I'm talking to. It's gotta be you, but it's gotta be similar. Always the same. In fact, I'll show you in 1 minute a couple of those things. Now, Jason, what if you said, yes, we can get together. And I said, well, great. I'm open on Thursday. I'm open tomorrow night. Would that work for you? And you say no. What do I say then? Do I say, well, how's Friday or Saturday, or how's Sunday or Monday, or I'm open for the rest of the month? What works for you, Jason?
I like to ask a question like, when are you off next, or how soon? You want a little
How
sense of
soon?
urgency. I like, how soon can we get together? Because now there's a sense of urgency. You don't want them to say, oh, well, this month is a little busy, Jim. Can you reach out to me next month?
Okay,
Right?
so but if I say how soon and they come back and they say that this month is pretty busy, can we, can you call me next month? Here's my answer. The answer is, you know what? My calendar is getting so jam-packed. If you wouldn't mind, let's pick a date. And if we have to change it, I'll call to confirm ahead of time. But if we have to change it, we can do that. But let's get it on the calendar, because I don't want to then be 2 months out because I'm so packed out. It's showing people that, hey, you know what? I'm busy.
And you're a
B,
professional.
and I'm professional, and B, I get it on the calendar. And that's really what I'm looking for as I'm doing things like that.
Yeah, it's not, well, I'll call you in some mystical time, or at yeah, we'll catch up at some point, or yeah, let's talk at the ball game.
Yeah.
Right? I think you got to have a solid appointment, because you really want to do this justice for sure. Jim, I want to talk a little bit about texting, because we have a lot of people that text. And one thing that I've noticed is that people try and do this entire step 1 through 6 in a one text message. Right. And they wonder why people are ghosting them or not answering. And I'll let you know, because texting is somewhat more of a dialogue back and forth. So, hey, do you have a minute? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
What's up? That's your opportunity to give them a call. Hey, I only have a second. The reason I'm calling is, and you're going to have, like you said, you're going to have a much greater response, because people are afraid to say no to you on the phone or in person, but they've got no problem hiding behind their phone and ghosting you for a week, even though you know they saw the message, right? And I know I know that I'm not alone.
You
Right?
are not. And by the way, if you do text, don't text any more than that point 1. You stop there. Then
Right.
I'm going to give you a trick. And I do this all the time. It's fun, actually. If they don't answer me after I send that within like 15, 20 minutes, I send them the picture of the ghost emoji.
Yeah.
and I send it, and then I put a smiley face behind it. And I'm like, I know you wouldn't ghost me. Can I call you?
Yeah. Sometimes I
gotta
do an
have
open
fun.
like, hey, can you do me a favor? Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. What's up? Now they're on the hook, right? Hey,
yeah,
can you do me a quick favor? Yeah, what's up? And then I go into it and they're like, now I got them, right?
yeah,
Or even, if the date of the time you're trying to get together, Jim, is Thursday, let's say Thursday after work. Hey, what are you doing Thursday after work? Nothing. Great. Now they can't say that they're too busy or something came
yeah.
up. So you can kind of back end them into that when you're using a text message, or even on a call. Sometimes I try and schedule the time and then tell them the reason why I need their time.
Yep. And you know what's great is you can do it after you get something set. It can be in person. It could be, if it has to be at what if someone lives 2-3 hours away? Can we do it on Zoom? Certainly. I know we're really on a big push for being in person, because it just makes a difference being together. But sometimes you can't do that. Just like Jason and I are 15 hours apart or whatever we are right now, but we're able to be together. I see everybody putting ghost emojis in. I'm loving that. Well, good. I'm glad you guys found your ghost emoji. But so you can use Zoom for that distance to be able to do it. And tomorrow night, Jason, I am going to be doing the UBP online as well, so everybody's aware. If you have somebody, I would recommend you've already talked to them. Don't just send them blank to it. I mean, it's such a mistake. People think I'm just gonna, and you said this earlier, I'm friend someone on Facebook. I'm gonna send them to the meeting. No, you need to make, I'd rather talk to one person than try to get 50 there on a blind way of doing it, and it'll work better. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
the other thing is, don't get so scared when you're making an appointment to get off the phone right away or to stop. Make sure it's a good one. You don't have to write exactly what's here, but just say, you can say something like, I know you're really busy. Does it look, if Jason told me Tuesday would work next week, I know you're really, really busy, Jason. I'm busy too. Is there any reason you see that Tuesday at 7 wouldn't work? And if it doesn't, could you please give me a call a day before or two? Because I've got limited hours and I'm really focused. Whatever it is, that's what it is. You know what I mean? That's how I say it.
Yeah, and someone might say, well, geez, you know what? Tuesday is soccer practice, and I know it usually sometimes it runs long, but I should be okay for it. What I do in those instances, I say, well, how about we pick another time where it might be, a sure thing, or it might be better for us to get together if you're going to be rushing, because I don't want to take you away from what you've got going on.
Yeah.
And I want to make it sound like I'm doing them the favor, right? I'm really thinking about their schedule. In some cases, when I'm talking to professionals, certainly in the web center world, Jim, I'll say, hey, I'm sure that you hate no-shows, right? If you're like me. And they say, yeah, nothing bugs me more. And I say, great, I'll see you Thursday at 5. Well, now they're not going to call and cancel on me because, it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement.
You're pretty tricky, Jason. I don't know. You're probably going to take my ghost emoji thing now too and use that all the time. That's good. I like it. But the key is you're booking a good, solid appointment because you're taking that time and you want to be able to do it. But all those are great, great things. Now we've talked about, why do text workshops or why do call workshops work? And I'm going to give you you can look at all of this and it's all great. I'm going to tell you the one reason it works. It's scheduled. When you sit down with some other people to do something, you've got it in your calendar, it means that's my time. I'm going to make calls. You're going to make things happen. So that's why it's so important to have that. And it's really, really something to get into your calendar. Get with a group of a couple people and say, let's do this once a week for 45 minutes. I have a standing Tuesday text call workshop that I do that started with like 2 people that now is like 8 or 9 people. And all we do, Jason, is we get together, we talk a little bit about, what we're looking at, what are we going to book people into? What are we trying to do? 5-10 minutes tops we talk. And then boom, what we do is we turn off our sound. We sit and we make calls in front of each other. I can't hear them, but they, I'm watching them and they're doing it. And then we get back together at the assigned time. And at that point we say, okay, how'd you do? How many appointments did you book? What happened? Did anything? And we go off of that. It's really a blast to be able to do. And it's so much fun that Jason said to me, we should do that tonight. And I said, Jason, we couldn't do that tonight. People will be scared to come on. But obviously we have the brave with us, Jason. We have the strong, the mighty, and the ones who are ready to grow. Now, one of the things I want to show you, I mentioned moving up seminars. So in these 2 examples, you can see on one of them of people we actually reached, that we contacted. We booked 322 appointments. 26 said, what is it? That's what WII is. 26. 33 said no. So we basically reached out to 355 people we got a hold of. Of the 355, 26 said, what is it? 33 said no. We booked 322 appointments. Another call workshop on the right side. 173 appointments booked out of 185 contacts. 12 said no. 12 said, what is it? And I told you the numbers before. These are just 2. I've got pictures of board after board after board that we did on this as we calculated it. So what we're going to do, what time is it, Jason? Is it about?
We got 8:50. So we got a couple minutes here.
We're going to take 11 minutes. 11 minutes right now. I'm going to do this too, by the way.
Me too.
So you can go ahead. You can mute Well, you don't have to mute yourself. We'll mute ourselves, and we're all going to make texts or calls, and let's see if we can book some up. Let's see how many appointments this team can book in 11 minutes. So at what would be 9 o'clock Eastern, 10 minutes from now, we're back. I'm going to mute myself, and here we go. All right, stay with us, and let's do it. Okay, guys, we are coming in. You got about 30 seconds left if you got that last text to send. Okay, that is it. Put in there how you did. Wow, Estella got I got one appointment. Did you see me? I was fired up. I got one that I wasn't able to talk to because they're not here right now. They're in Milwaukee. I thought they were in Phoenix, so that's not going to work at this moment. Carmen reached out to 5, 2 no answers, 2 wanted to hear more, and 1 appointment book. Jason, how'd you do?
So I actually have 2 appointments, solid appointments. And wouldn't you know, one of them I reached out to, they're out in Ohio. They're going to be in Boston in 2 weeks. So we're going to try and catch up for coffee locally in person.
Oh, perfect. That works out good.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Did you reach out to anybody? Tell us how you did. 5 texts, no responses. Reached out to 4, 1 response. My peeps get up early, and Sharon, I get that sometimes, you can't reach out. It was getting a little late, so you had to go out for the ones that may stay up a little later. Might get some calls in the morning, so that'll be good.
And that's just it, Jim. Sometimes if you are doing the text or you're doing the call workshop, you're gonna leave voicemails. You're gonna have people that,
Yes.
they see the message when they see it. But a quick tip on voicemails, the voicemail I leave, Jim, because I had to leave one, is, hey, Jackie, this is Jason. Call me back when you get a chance. I know it's late, maybe tomorrow, and I leave my phone number.
Yes.
Like it wasn't an approach on the message.
Yeah,
Right.
right. You don't, hey, call me. I've got a new business I want to talk to you about. I'm looking for you to evaluate it.
Right.
If you say that, you might as well just start sending the ghost emoji, right?
Right.
But no, that's great. Look at these, got a lot more coming in, tested more than 10 friends, 3 going to an event that I'm going to host. Great. 3 texts. You know what, guys? You deserve a huge round of applause because A, you're here. B, you took the instruction and did it. And whether you got an appointment or not, you're moving forward because you've now reached out to somebody. And can I tell you something? It always feels better to do something than it does to do nothing. And that's really a big key to what we're talking about here. I love it. There's still more coming in, and telling, tomorrow, schedule yourself for half an hour. Get a hold of somebody and do it for half an hour. And we've seen this and we've talked about it now. You can go, if you go on Market America YouTube, I think there's a session on call workshops. If you search under me or just type in call workshops, I think you could watch a video to get yourself set for that. But have some fun with it. You know what I mean? Don't get stressed out. You saw, if you were watching, I was laughing. I was talking to a guy. I asked him to come on tomorrow night for what I'm doing. He couldn't do it. So then it was on to the next, okay, when are you available? And we worked it out for Wednesday at 3:30 for next week for him, 3:30 his time. So anyhow, that's it. That's what it is, Jason. This is the business. It's, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to bother the people I know. And I always say, are you bothering them? If you're bothering them, you're doing this wrong. What you should be doing is asking them to take a look at something that could help somebody. Because you got to be proud of your business. You got to be proud of what you're doing. You got to stand up straight. You got to smile. Think of the fun we have, and really reach out to them. But that's what it's all about, is getting in front of it and getting it going.
Yeah, I think everyone here on the call wants to sponsor new on franchise owners and expand their business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on with us tonight, Jim. But I think a lot of people take that list and they say, well, I've got no one to sponsor. Well, it's a process. You don't have people to sponsor because you haven't shown the plan, but you haven't shown the plan because you haven't done the approaches or the text call workshop. And you haven't done that because you haven't made the list. Tonight, we went through the entire process, and it all starts with what? Scheduling it. what gets scheduled gets done.
Yeah, and first thing I did when we started, I had to go to my list that I had written out and start working off of that. Because again, if I just start scrolling through my phone, here's what happens. It takes forever. I do a couple, I got a list. I've got written down, okay, Wednesday, 3:30, left 10:12, left an appointment. So the ones I was contacting, I was writing on there what I was doing. But anyway, all it takes, Jason, sometimes it takes one call to change the course of your business. It takes one person who gets started, who says, I'm going to do it. Guys, we appreciate you. I hope this was fun, and I hope you enjoyed it, and do a coring with your team. We're going to be out, we're coming to an area near you. It's like they used to say, what? Coming to a theater near you. Maybe the Jason and Jim show hitting it, maybe Andrew and Andrew, who knows what it'll be, but we're on the roll, doing things. I'm going to be doing I'm doing a UBP next week in Phoenix, Jason. So if anybody knows anybody in the Phoenix area, on Tuesday night, I'll be doing a UBP here. If you look in the GMTSS, that'd be great. And then we'll keep you informed as we're going to different areas. Okay, Jason, you have anything coming up we need to let people know?
Yeah, so we've got HBPs and UBPs here in the New Hampshire area. We will have a HBP, not next week that's scheduled, but the following week, because we've got UBP that we just came off of. So you can check the manortheast.com has a calendar of events, so you can check out those and find some of the local events that might not be listed on the GMTSS as well.
Oh, I love it. So great. We can check though. That was a great coaching on that for people to check that. So Jason, it was a blast. Thank you. And congratulations on the appointments, and congratulations on the night to everybody. So have a great night, and we will see you next week with the next session for our Master UFO Action Plan. Take care, everybody.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.